Hello everyone! Now I'm going to be reading a story about the rescuers down under. Hello everyone! Now I'm going to be reading a story about the rescuers down under. The outback of Australia is an exciting place for a boy to grow up. Little Cody loved to explore the wild and rugged terrain and to visit all his animal friends. Cody was a special boy. He loved animals so much that he had learned to talk to them and understand their language. One day, as Cody was out hiking, his friend Falu, the kangaroo, came hopping up to him. Falu looked very worried indeed. "Cody, thanks heaven it's you," said Falu, as she gasped for breath. "You must come at once and use your clever human hands to help. Climb upon my back, for we must hurry." And as the boy clung on tightly, the kangaroo began to hop. And as she hopped, Falu explained, "It is our friend Marahut, the great golden eagle. She is trapped high up on a cliff in the poacher's net. You're the only one who can climb up there to free her." Soon they reached the cliff and Cody began to climb. After several minutes, Cody found his old friend Marhut bound tight in an evil hunter's trap. When she saw the boy, the great eagle seized her struggling. She smiled and waited patiently for her little friend to free her. But when the net was loose, Marahut's powerful wings sprang out and accidentally knocked Cody off the ledge. "Oh no!" shouted the boy as he plumped towards the sharp rocks below. "Help! Save me, Marahut!" Quickly, the giant bird tore herself free from her bonds. She swooped down through the air and caught the boy gently in her talons. He climbed up on her back and she carried him across the steep cliff of the winding gorges. Back at her nest, she even gave Cody one of her precious feathers as thanks for saving her from the poacher's clutches. Later, many miles away, as Cody was walking home, he noticed a little mouse. The mouse was also hopelessly trapped in the poacher's snare. But as Cody bent down to free the little fellow, the mouse shouted, "No, no! You mustn't! You're in great danger!" It was too late. Cody hadn't seen the deep hole hidden by the grass and branches beneath the mousetrap. And down he plumped. As soon as he landed, he heard mocking laughter, and he looked up from the hole to see a strange man and the lizard grinding down at him. The man's name was Milich. He pulled Cody out of the hole and said to his lizard friend, "Well, Joanna, it looks like we caught us a boy with a golden eagle feather. It was he, Milich, who was the evil poacher." Then Milich took Cody and shoved him roughly into the cage of his horrible poacher's truck. "You're staying there until you tell me where I can find that eagle," he said. "That eagle is worth millions to me, boy, dead or alive." The little mouse had been watching. Quickly, he ran to the animal telegraph office so that he could send for help. A little while later, on the other side of the world, two mice were dining at the restaurant. They were in New York, where it was night instead of day. Bernard had invited his friend Bianca out because he was going to ask her to marry him. But before he could ask her, he dropped the wedding ring and it rolled under the table. And by the time he came up again, Bianca was reading a note the waiter had brought. "Oh dear, this sounds serious," she said. Bianca then told Bernard that they had to rush back to the rescue sorcery headquarters, where they at work. Someone was in trouble. There the two mice learned that a boy named Cody was in great danger in Australia. Because the boy had always helped animals, it was Bernard and Bianca's job to go at once and help him. Unfortunately, the only way of getting to Australia at that time of the night was to buy a bird. But what a bird! Wilbur the albatross was the oddest fellow they had ever met. Sure, Wilbur told them, as he laughed and danced around his old house. I'll be happy to fly you to Australia. Just tell me one thing. What's Australia? Soon, Bernard and Bianca were strapped into the Wilbur's back as the big bird fought his way through a snowstorm, following Bianca's direction west all night and all day. He flew, but at last the exhausted albatross reaches the sunny shores of the great continent of Australia. But as Wilbur landed at the Australian headquarters of the rescue sorcery, he crashed and sprained a wing. You have to be more careful next time, mate, said Jake, the Australian bird, who was waiting for them. Because Wilbur had to rest and nurse his injury wing, Jake found another way to find the mice inland in search Cody. Come on, laughed Jake. There's nothing like a flight on the back of a good old Australian flying squirrel. To his surprise, Bernard soon found out that he missed flying with Wilbur. It was safer. Meanwhile, in the back of room of Milich's shack, Cody was getting to know some other captive. There was a sad kangaroo named Red, and a frustrated koala bear named Krebs, and a frilled-necked lizard named Frank, who was trying desperately to escape. After a while, the lizard even tried to use his tail to pick the lock of his cage. Amazingly, Frank got the lock open. But how were they to try to get out of the room? In order to free his little friends, the little lizard had to reach a set of keys. Unluckily, Joanna saw him and chased Frank right back into his cage. Meanwhile, Bernard, Bianca, and Jake, the Australian mouse, were getting closer. The little mouse who had sent the telegram to the Australian section of the rescue sorcery had told Jake just where to search for little Cody. But when Bernard, Bianca, and Jake arrived at Milich's shack, they were surprised to see that the villain was letting the boy go. I don't need you anymore, he told Cody. I've heard that someone else had just shot your eagle friend dead, so you're no use to me now. Milik smiled an evil smile. It's a shame that eagle eggs will get cold and die now, with no one to take care of them, he shouted after the boy. Oh no, thought Cody as he hurried towards the cliff. I've got to save poor Marahoot's egg. But it was all a lie. Marahoot wasn't really dead. The cunning Milich had just tried to trick Cody into showing him where the great eagle lived. And as Milich followed Cody, the mice leaped unseen aboard the truck to follow Milich. When Milich's truck reached the cliff, the three mice hurried ahead to find Cody. And when they found him at Marahoot's nest, Bernard said, Quick, boy, Milich has come, and he has planned to capture your eagle friend. We must warn her. But it is too late. As Marahoot returned to her nest, Milich fired a net right over her. Oh no, shouted Cody. This is all my fault. I've got to help her. And before the mice could stop, Cody leaped into the air and caught hold of the net holding the golden eagle. Well, well, Joanna, laughed Milich as he dropped the net containing the eagle and the boy into the cage on his truck. It looks like we caught two foolish birds in one net. Then Milich lowered a big lizard towards Marahoot's nest. Eat them all the eggs now, Joanna, he said. We want this eagle to be last one of her kind in the whole world. Then she'll be even more valuable to us when we sell her to the zoo. But when the 3 mice heard this, they quickly hid Marut's nest in a crevice and rolled some rocks back into the nest, rocks that looked just like eggs. When Joanna reached that nest, she smiled and bit down hard into one egg. Ouch! And all she managed to do was to crack a tooth. These eggs must be really hard-boiled, she spluttered. So instead of eating them, she pushed them over the cliff. Meanwhile, Wilbur the albatross went on his way. And when the lizard had gone, Wilbur landed near the nest. Wonderful! Just in time, Wilbur, smiled Bianca. She came out of hiding and rolled an egg back into the nest. You're a nice, big, warm bird. You can sit on these and take care of them. Wilbur was beginning to feel sorry he had come. Meanwhile, the evil Milich decided to lower poor Cody into the river so that the crocodiles could get him. But brave Bernard hurried back to the truck and shut off the motor to stop Milich. Still, the villainous poacher wasn't beaten. Instead, he broken the rope that held Cody with a rifle bullet. And as the poor boy fell into the rushing water, Joanna the lizard chased after Bernard. But clever Bernard ran straight between Milich's leg and foolish Joanna crashed into the rogue, knocking all 3 of them into the water. Once Bernard was in the water, he not only had to try to save Cody from the crocodiles, but from a dangerous waterfall too. If they were swept over the edge, they would surely be drowned. But to Bernard and Cody's great relief, they soon heard the beating of the great wings, and they looked up to see Marahut gliding down to rescue them. Bianca and Jade had succeeded in freeing the great eagle from her cage. And as Marahut lifted Bernard and Cody into the air, Bernard looked down just in time to see that rascal Milich and his lizard being swept over the waterfall. It's hard to feel sorry for the 2 hard-hearted villains. In no time at all, Cody and his friends, the mice, were high in the air, soaring on the back of the wonderful eagle. Marahut was taking the boy home, and as they flew by her nest, Wilbur the albatross sighed to himself. I do hope that eagle hurries back, he said. If these eggs hatch before she returns, I'm gonna end up a mother. And as they flew, Bernard finally found the courage to ask Bianca to marry him. Oh yes, of course, my hero, sighed Bianca, and she gave him a big kiss. I've thought you never ask. The end.
What did you learn in this story?
All I learned about the story is kindness, and I also learned about helping others, and also have confidence and be brave if there is someone want to do something bad to you. And that's the moral story I learned about this story. Thank you.